How's it going, everybody? I'm back. And today is a phenomenal day. For those of you who are fans of this band, you know how long we've been waiting for this. Today, on August 30th of 2019, the prog metal band known as Tool has finally released their 5th studio album, Fear Inoculum. Fear Inoculum, I have no words of how perfect this album is. It is exactly what I wanted from Tool as a final release to finally come out. When I first heard that this album was being released on this day, I lost my shit. I was excited beyond belief because the last album they released was in 2005 or 2006 with 10,000 Days. And keep in mind, that album was amazing and still is amazing to this day. And it began stirring thoughts up. Like, it took them 13 years to do this, and you make me think, oh, they can't live up to the hype. But for me, they delivered that and tenfold with that. And it was such a musical journey to take while listening to this album. I loved every single second of it. Granted, with the physical version, which I do not have yet, it's at 7 tracks. When Maynard and the guys announced only 7 tracks, I was actually really worried for a second that it would be really short. But then they said it was over 87 minutes of music. And I'm like, wait, hold up a second. What? And I'm fairly sure that Fear Inoculum is their longest album to date, if I am correct. If I am not, please do correct me in the comments down below. If I am wrong, because I feel like I am. But anyways, since not only does this album come out today on the 2nd of August, I feel like almost basically beginning of the month. Actually, it was beginning of the month. They also released all of their albums on all streaming services, including this one now. So all the way from Opiate, Undertow, Lateralis, Anima, 10,000 Days, and now Fear Inoculum. All of those albums and releases are now officially on platforms like Spotify, Apple Music, Google Play Music, or whatever you use for listening to music. And it's also officially released on their own YouTube channel as well. I'm rambling here because I'm really fucking excited, but I'm getting off the point. This video here is going to be an album review type video. It's not going to be a direct album review. It's going to be titled album review, but it's going to be giving my overview of the thoughts of the whole album. As I mentioned before, it came with 7 tracks in the physical version and 10 tracks on the digital, which was really, really interesting because I would have thought they would have flipped that around to give fans more tracks, some more viewers. But you know what? The way they did it now made a lot more sense to me. Now it does. Anyways, with this album, it has so many amazing parts to it. From the title track they released as a single on the 14th, I believe, of the Fear Inoculum title track, that song I loved immediately when it came out. It was hauntingly beautiful, if that makes any sense. The track was so satisfying to listen to and had its really slow areas and really powerful, strong, and heavier areas. But then we go on throughout the album with songs like Pneuma. And that song gave me a lot of Lateralis vibes and 10,000 Day vibes. Like, kind of a combination. Gave me a little bit of Schism in the way it was sounded too. Some of the instrumentals gave me some Schism vibes, and also some of the whole thing as a production-wise and sounding of 10,000 Days. And that really, really made me happy because 10,000 Days happens to be tied for first place as my favorite Tool album, right behind Anima. Anyways, with this track, it was very enjoyable. It's about 11 minutes, I think. And that's another thing. There is only 7 tracks, but each track is over 10 minutes. And it's amazing. But it just keeps going, and the album as a whole flows perfectly. With Pneuma, It's going to be. It's a track that has a lot of a lot of things going on with it, as long as does the entire album. After Pneuma or Numa, I'm still trying to figure out how to pronounce it. On the third track, there is this about I think 2 minute interlude. I can't remember the time length of it, and I don't even know how to pronounce it. It's the third track on the album. Go ahead and look at it if you watch this review. If you do watch it, it's a very interesting. I will say this: it was my least favorite track off the album because it was only an interlude. It was nice, but it was also kind of unnecessary in my opinion. After that, we are met with the amazing track of Invincible. Oh my God! This song. It's pure beauty. That's all I can really say. From start to finish, this song has so much power to it, a lot of meaning too. It's easily one of the best tracks on the album. I will say this. After that, we met with another interlude called Legion Inoculum. That one is probably my favorite interlude of the whole album. Because it kind of brings in the tones from the title track, Fear Inoculum, into the song, the lines in it, and it kind of blends perfectly into the next track, which is Descending. Descending is my second favorite off the album. When I heard that little kind of snippet that was leaked a few months ago of Descending, I was like, whoa, this is really, really fucking good. But with this track, it's a song. This is what I mean by this album. It's so hard to actually put into words of how much is actually going on with it. It's one of those albums that you want to say a lot of stuff about, but you're having trouble to. Really hard to actually put words to it. All I can really say about Descending is it's absolute perfection. From start to finish, the song does not disappoint. It has its strong points, and it's very enjoyable through and through. After that, we are met with a song that really surprised me. The song itself gave me a lot of Anima vibes, with a little bit of Letter Alice in parts, I believe it. But Calling Voices was a very interesting track, and it was a very, very enjoyable track as well. I know I'm saying that a lot. I know I'm repeating myself a lot here, but Calling Voices as a track, it was almost my favorite off the album. It almost was, but it got knocked off right at the end, which I'm getting to in a little while. Calling Voices was a very, very, very a nice journey of a track. I was laying in bed last night while listening with my eyes closed, and it just made me feel so relaxed, and it made me feel just very spacious in a way. And I know for me, a lot of Tool's music can do that. It's a very psychedelic feeling, and their music that just makes you very relaxed. After we are done with Calling Voices, we are led to Danny Carey, the drummer of Tool, his drum solo track of Chocolate Chip Trip. I first saw that title on when they first announced the title tracking of the title tracks, or song listing, of Fear Inoculum. I was very intrigued by this title, and I was not sure what it was going to be. I was thinking it might have been an interlude, but I guess it kind of is an interlude, because it's Danny Carey's drum solo, and oh my god, the solo on this track does not disappoint. It was a very interesting start, and a very interesting way to name a song, and I kind of forgot in a way, in a sense, of how good a drummer Danny Carey actually was, because of the fact that it's like throughout the album, and in some areas I will say that's the only downside about this album that I don't like, is in some areas of some songs, not all the time, it's very minimal, is some of the drums become very lacking, kind of just very repeating, and something that I wanted a little bit more from, but that is just me. But besides those very minute areas, the whole album shined, and especially on this solo, it really just brought it all home until the very end of this album, which we are led to the final full track of the album, Seven Tempest, or Tempest. Maynard James Keenan did say that the album Fear Inoculum was based off of the number 7, which was very odd because, 7 tracks originally, in the track called Seven Tempest or Tempest. This song, being the monster of 15 minutes and 44 seconds, is by far my favorite song off this album, and if not my favorite Tool song of all time. And I will say this now, this has some of Adam Jones's best work on this, if not his best work. From start to finish, from the very second it starts to the very end it stops, it does not disappoint. Chugging guitars, amazing vocals, amazing drums, and very catchy bass lines. Everything about Tempest is unbelievably amazing. I've listened to this song on repeat multiple times now, and it gets better every single time I listen to it. And I fucking love it every single time, each and every single time more I listen to it. And I cannot wait to actually get my own copy of this album. After we're done with Seven Tempest, or Tempest, whatever you want to say, we're led to a very interesting ending track of nature sounds called Mocking Beat. Honestly, I could have gone without this being on the album. I can see why it was on there, because it was a nice calming outro to the whole thing, and then it flows really nicely, if you have the album on repeat like I did, flows really nicely back into Fear Inoculum all over again, which is another very large pro about this album. It flows unbelievably nicely and almost seamlessly. From Tempest to Mocking Beat, it's a very nice flow, a nice change of pace to close out the album that we've all been waiting for a very long time. Overall, this album did not disappoint whatsoever. My top tracks of this album, of Tool's Fear Inoculum, would be number 1, Tempest, number 2, Descending, number 3, Invincible, number 4, Pneuma. Those tracks right there are easily my favorite tracks, and ones I will definitely come back to more in the future. And Culling Voices was one of those that was really close to reaching the top 4, but that is my number 5. But I will do a number 4 picks for right now. My least favorites, because I don't really have a least favorite off the album, it's tracks that I feel like could gone without of, and that would have been track 3, which I still don't know how to say because it's really weird title, and Mocking Beat. But besides that, the entire album is flawless and phenomenal and flows very well, and is a very, very enjoyable album through and through. And with that being said, I will grade Tool's Fear Inoculum a 9.5 out of 10. It's a very high ranking. I rarely ever give pretty high rankings. A 9.5 out of 10, honestly, I believe is a very, very fair rating, and a very, very good rating for the album that we've been waiting for 13 years. Anyways, guys, that will be all for today's video. If you guys did enjoy, please like, comment, and subscribe, and let me know what you guys think down below in the comments. I'd love to start a discussion with you guys, and what you guys think. What are your favorite tracks, and what do you think Tool will do next, if anything? As always, I'm JSR Music. Keep rocking.